Alright, today we're going to be looking at line of best fit for our body best fit data. And I have entered some information. I just put students 1 through 12, made up some height and arm span information. You as a class, you and your classmates will be filling in all of this information about each of you individually, and it will compile all together. But I put this information in so that we can see an example of how you would do a line of best fit with Google Spreadsheet. So I start by going to the bottom and I hit this plus sign, which brings up a new sheet. I want to rename it height versus arm span so that I can quickly see what's on each page, and you'll do this with your two pieces of information. Go back to all of the data, highlight the 3 columns, and you will hit Control C to copy it. And if yours are not right next to each other, if they're in separate columns, you might have to do each column individually. Go here and I will hit Control V to paste it. So now I have all 3 pieces of my information: student name, the height, and the arm span. And what we're looking for to do with this assignment is to find a line of best fit, a prediction equation that would tell us, if we knew somebody's height, what we would expect their arm span to be. So if I go over to cell E1, I'm going to press equal because it's going to indicate that we are going to have a formula. And the formula that I'm going to be looking for is the slope, because I need to find the slope of my line. So as I start typing slope, you can see the drop-down menu brings up the information, and it tells us that we need our y data, comma, and then our x data. So if I hit parentheses, my information, I'm going to use height as my x and arm span as my y, because that's usually the way our xy tables are set up. So if I highlight my y data, comma, highlight my x data, close my parentheses, press enter, it shows me that my slope is approximately 1.1. Then if I go, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I need my y-intercept, so I type equals and I start typing intercept, and it's formatted the same way. The y information goes first, comma, the x information, close my parentheses, enter, and you can see that my y-intercept is about negative 13.75. So now in my D column, this is where I'm going to put all of my information that's going to give me my line of best fit. So I'm going to start and I'm going to make it look like an equation in y equals mx plus b form. So I start with equals because it's going to be a formula, and I want my text to start out y equals. So I put that in quotes because it's text. To tie that together with a cell that could change, I put an and. I click on the cell where my slope is. So far it says y equals my slope. And then I need another and because I'm going to go back to text, x plus, and then I want my y-intercept, so once again and then click on my y-intercept. So now if I press enter, you can see that it's formatted it, it's plugged those numbers in, but they're not very pretty because they have so many decimal places. So if I click on this cell, I can actually tell the formula to round my number. So I type in round, parentheses, my number, comma, and I'm going to tell it 2 decimal places. I'm going to do the same thing for my y-intercept, comma, 2 decimal places. And you can see that that equation looks much better because we don't have all of those decimals. So now what I need to do is I'm going to plug in all of my heights into this equation without it being rounded. And so to do that, I hit equals my slope times my x value plus my y-intercept. So I still have mx plus b. Press enter, and you can see that that's approximately 157.5. Now, one of the nice features is that you can drag this formula down. You don't have to type it in for every single one. If you go over here and you see how it makes a circle around that square, drag it down, and you can see it's done something, but something's not right. So if I click here to investigate, well, my formula changed. I wanted it to use B4, but I didn't want it to use E3 and F3. So I'm going to go back up here to the one that's formatted right with the right numbers. Click in here and put a $sign to force those to stay as ones. Now if I hit enter, nothing's changed in that cell, but when I drag it down, all of these numbers are much more what we would expect. Again, it has several decimal places. So I'm going to round it to the nearest centimeter, since that's what we did in class, but I don't have to use the round function. I can go up here to where it says more formats, and I can format it to be rounded. So now you can see it's rounded everything to the nearest centimeter. So now that I have all of this information in, I'm going to highlight these three columns, go to Insert, and I want to insert a chart. And I'm going to go, and because I highlighted the titles, which are in the top column, I'm going to check this box that says Use Row 1 as a header. And as I make changes over here, my preview will automatically change. And you can see that it has these labeled over here, but this isn't a scatter plot. So we're going to go and choose Charts. We're going to choose Scatter Plot. And unfortunately, when Google made some upgrades back in October of 2010, they removed one of the features of connecting the dots for our scatter plot. So right now, until this problem has been fixed, the only option that we have is this scatter plot without the points connected. So if you click on it, you can see that that looks much more like a scatter plot, and that's what we want. We do need to customize a few other things, so click on the Customize. We're going to title it Height versus Arm Span. I do want my legend to be on the right. If I click down here, you can see that it's now put the title in. My vertical axis is going to be arm span. And then you can see it puts that in. If I click on horizontal, I want it to be my height. And then if I go down here and click on point, you can see that the height has now been put at the bottom of the table. And I do want to change my point size. Right now it's at medium. I want to change it to tiny so that they're not so large and overwhelming in the graph. So if I click on that, you can see over here as I move over my points, it pops up a window telling me what those values are. So it looks like everything is formatted correctly, so I will hit Insert. It brings the graph down here, and if I click on it, I get this gray box at the top, which will allow me to drag it so that everything is visible. So now, looking at the graph, the blue dots are what we actually got for arm span. The red dots are what we would expect to get using our prediction equation, so these values right here. And you can see even without having the line connected, these red dots would form a line. So if you wanted to, you could print it out and draw that line in by hand, or you can just visually look at it and see what our prediction line would be. Hopefully this video will help you to be able to do your two pieces of information. And if you forget some of the steps or get confused as to what comes next, please feel free to review this video and watch it again to figure out where you need to do. Thanks and have a good day.